Hello and welcome to the Visionless Designs YouTube channel. So today it's more stuff on the kiln, so we're doing a slight upgrade here. So in a previous video you might have seen how I'd added an extra fan to the kiln, which is this thing here. So obviously it's taking in the center, taking from the top, the heat from the top, and then blowing it back at the bottom to ensure the even distribution of heat. However, there was two problems with this. One, it's more centralized, so it doesn't really get help with the end of the kiln, and another one is the fan itself that I used, because well, I'm a bit of a plonker. Plastic fans aren't very good for high heat. You know, plastic melts, did you know? So it's not so much melted as the casing seems to have warped a bit. So we're swapping this out for two high heat fans, which are going to be going from the top corner there and going down to the hole I've got here already for the fan that's already here, and then from the top here to the end, just over there somewhere, to help get a bit better distribution of heat around the whole kiln and more air movement. So I'm adding in two more 4-inch fans, which are actually designed for chimneys. So they'll take up to, I think it's 180 degrees centigrade. So they'll do the job. I'll get onto that now, and hopefully it should work better. The only problem with these heat resistant fans is they don't quite have the same airflow. So this one I've already got in was rated for 245 cubic meters an hour, whereas the two extra ones I'm putting in are 150 cubic meters an hour each. So technically still got the same, well, slightly more air movement, but in different areas. But we'll have to see how it goes. If I want higher movement of air, then I need to get bigger fans, which I'd then have to reduce, which doesn't quite work as well. So you start reducing big fans, you don't quite get the same air movement. So right, let's get this all fitted, get this one taken out, and get the new ones fitted in. So done the change now. I just need to wait for the electrician to come and take the old fan off. So don't think you can really see the fans too well here because they're quite dinky in comparison. Where's that box? Inline axial fan VOK 100.
120.
120, sorry, 120. I don't know why they're called 120s, because they're 100mm fans, but, well, I suppose 100mm outlet. Maybe the fan inside is 120. But yeah, as I said, they're designed for high heat and high humidity, so they'll do the job. So what are they? It's about, I think they're 18-watt fans. So they're going from going from 125-watt fan to two 18-watt fans, which give me 300 cubic meters of airflow, depending on how well, length of tubing obviously makes a big difference. Obviously they're not going too far. But yeah, it's again, because I'm going to be drawing heat now from that corner there, which is that's where the heater is on that side. So we're drawing heat from the top of that side, so it'll help to circulate the air in that corner where the heat kiln's not directly facing. So pull air for there, blow it to the middle here, middle, somewhere here, not there, middle there, and then we've got the top one here. It's just getting in the middle, going down to the end over there, which again should create a lot more better air circulation throughout the whole kiln to ensure that there's heat throughout it. I might, I'll see how this goes. I'm hoping I don't have to get bigger fans, but we'll have to see. The fan prices jumped up quite a lot. I think these were, I'm getting bad at saying numbers off the top of my head, so many of them. They were £80 each, and then they got quite a bit for each one. I think the 6-inch one was about 140, so the price jumps up quite a bit. So yeah, we'll see how it goes with these. I'm going to take this old one, have this old one taken out, and I'll probably use that in a treatment room because it's only a small area, so it'll take out any fumes and dust in the air. Right, so let's go get the electrician and then try all this out. So at the back of the kiln now, we've had it going. A few things to note. I've noted there's a bit of condensation forming on the fans. So these have obviously got the clips on and clipping down tight, but there's water dripping out. So I think I'm going to get this fan and tilt it all the way around because that's all leaking onto the wood. Also need to be wary of making sure the cables are well away from the moisture. But there's also, well, it's dripping down there, all the water's dripping down here and getting all this wet down here and here. Again, it's a lot of condensation coming out. It's quite very damp there. It's dropped off a little bit as the moisture level in the kiln's getting lower, but when it first started there was quite a big puddle on here and the other one I've got. So again, these are pushed in, and I think the ones going into the kiln have been sealed with silicone sealant around them to make sure it's nice and tight. So we're assuming it's condensation, because again, there's going to be a major difference in temperature between these and inside there. So it's again something to be wary of. We're thinking of putting some guttering along under here to try and catch any drips and have it drain out through the gaps I've got at the bottom. But yeah, it's a downside of having the fans on the outside of the kiln, because obviously we've got heat loss from the pipes, because these aren't anywhere near as efficient as this XPS insulation. So yeah, we'll go around and see how the kiln's looking on the inside now. So it's been, what would it be, 2.5 weeks since we put it on the drying cycle now, after the steam cycle, and it seems to be mostly done. So these softwood poles are put in. They've come out between 10 and 12%, which is roughly where I want them. We've got some oak beams on the bottom that have come out at 8%. One thing we are a little bit concerned about is, where are they? So these boards that we've got here are apparently at 15. These are some ash boards that I'm planning on cutting up to make new stickers. So we're going to take out everything that's done and just have a quick go over them. Everything else seems to be done. It's just these, well, these couple of boards here seem a bit high. So we're going to get this unloaded, see how it goes, and then probably have a go over how much it's cost in electric units so far to get to this point.
So it depends how they bought as well on the other side of the kiln, isn't it?
And yep, we also need to check on how everything else in the kiln is. But I mean, theoretically, this is the part that would be the wettest because it's the furthest away from the heater and furthest away from the fans as well, because the fans are obviously on the back side of the kiln. So yeah, we'll see how this all goes. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, I've been having trouble with condensation from the piping. So we decided to have a bit of a play and put in some scrap pieces of 6-inch guttering I had left over. So here we go, right here. So all the leaking was just coming out here. So obviously we've got it running. We've got this, where is it? I think Mr. Hangerman decided to use expanding foam to seal that on in place. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you want to move the kiln at any point, because obviously that's now going to be ripped off. I'd probably try and recess it in, but for now, I mean, this thing's not going to be moving for a very, very long time. So yeah, any leaking now is going down into there and down onto the floor under the kiln, the soil floor under and out. We're on a slight slope here, so any moisture will just run downhill away. It's obviously something, if you have this, for example, in your workshop, you will need to do something to actually catch it, because the last thing you want is to end up with puddles in your workshop, or wherever you put this shed, any form of structure. Again, this is what I've done on both of ours here, me and Mr. Hangerman. So yeah, nice and simple. Not having giant puddles of water along the wood here anymore, so it should last a lot longer. Let's go find out how the other parts are doing now. So at the side of the kiln now, just going to show you the modifications we've made. So we've got a IP65 LED light here now. I've also, you'll notice this beam's now on the side here. So the insulation was flexing out on this corner away from the door about ½ an inch. So we need to put this beam in. Could have been a bit thinner, but it's all I had available. To kind of compress it in on the door. Originally I didn't do that because the kiln and the electrics are here. I think just get that open there. So got light switches in. So light switch here for the light here. I'm assuming that's for that one. And then we've got the light switches here for the two fans on the back. The switches here for the two fans on the back. Actually knock this on. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and where are you? 3. There's the fans. And then here we've got the kiln box. So it's done its first cycle on the drying. So it was on 2 at 75. Just turn on it. So that's 1, that's 2. Now it's doing the actual drying session. It needs to be set to 1, and the dial there needs turning to 40.
I guess I need to do that.
Yes, please.
40.
Yep.
Here we are.
And it's as simple as that. I might have a play about with leaving it on 2 instead of 1. It's basically the amount of heat it uses when it heats up. So some people think it's better to leave it hotter so that it heats the kiln up faster. Because it's thermostated anyway, it'll knock itself off quicker. So even though it's using more electric, it'll be using more electric for a shorter amount of time. So it's just something I'll be playing about with, just to check what uses more electric and whatnot. Right, go around the side and open the vent now. Right, so we're on the other side of the kiln now. Here's the vent, the most very boring thing here. So I've got my vent on the top of the kiln. Some people saying it should be at the bottom, some people saying it should be at the top. I find it works well here. Figuring was the heat, if it's at the top you lose heat, but also the moisture's rising up here, so it's more coming out here. Some people saying it's better at the bottom because the moisture will drop and go through there. I'm trying here first, see how it goes. You've got to make sure as a definite that this is pointing downwards, because water will condense in this pipe. There's quite a bit in there. So if you got that rising up, all the water condenses and then runs back into the kiln. So just something to consider. All I've got with this is just a just gonna screw that open and closed, depending on what I'm doing. You'll always want these. Put that back in. When doing the steam cycle, you want that fully closed, and during the actual drying cycle, you just open it partially and just keep coming back and make sure that it's not drying out. If it's drying out, then you've opened it too much and you lessen it down. You always want it to be wet on the outside. You can, generally speaking, just from feeling it, I can gauge, once I've figured out how it is, how well the kiln drying's doing, based on just how much moisture is just blaring out of this. It's it is a very important thing. I was umming and putting another one in, just because, I mean, there's probably gallons coming out of this when I've got a full kiln load. it's just shocking how much actually blazes out of it. If you see like the house gas vents on the side of a house when they're blazing out, it's basically similar to that. Right, that's that then. Right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. Please check out the visionlessdesigns.com website, where you'll find links to all the products I make, as well as my Etsy, Instagram and Facebook pages. Don't forget to subscribe as well, so you don't miss any future videos I do. And like ratings will go a very long way, apparently. Apparently they're really good like cookies. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in future videos.